God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Grant me patience for these things that take time, gratitude for all the things that I have, compassion for those with different struggles, and the perseverance to get up and try again, one day at a time. So even just by saying that while I'm laying in bed or I'm having a tough time or what have you, I feel connected. I feel connected to something that's greater than me. I feel connected to other people and like I don't have to control them. And I'm reminded there's a bigger picture. I'm not the center of the world and it's going to be okay.
I heard it through the grapevine.
Welcome. It's the AA Grapevine half-hour variety hour featuring the collected voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm Don, an alcoholic in Greensboro, North Carolina.
You sure are. Hi, everybody. I'm Sam, an alcoholic in Palm Springs, California.
That you are. Sam, I read the daily quote in the app the other day, and it really hit me.
Insert slap sound.
Oh, you didn't need to do that.
Aww.
It was a figure of speech.
What's that red handprint on your face? You can read them in the Grapevine app every day on your phone or sign up to receive daily quotes in your inbox at aagrapevine.org. So what was it, Don?
The quote was originally from the Grapevine book, The Home Group, Heartbeat of AA. I'm still amazed at the aura around AA meetings. No matter what our immediate problems, fears, or resentments, we come to a halt when the meeting begins and focus on our primary purpose. So, I get these in email, and I also get a notification in the app, so I'm kind of getting them twice a day. This one jumped on me. Because it's really true. I've always thought it amazing what happens when the meeting starts and we read the tools, the steps, and the traditions, and however the meeting's organized. It's like the quality of the talking changes and it is upgraded or something. It's amazing what happens. And now I think of it as that is when God enters the room, is through those things. And when I first got sober, I was like going, oh my God, am I going to have to sit here and listen to people read these steps every single day? Don't we know what they are? I was so frustrated with that.
Right.
And I heard a guy say that this is the way that ritual works. So the ritual, an AA ritual, is to open the meeting with the steps and the traditions and close it with the serenity prayer. And what happens by setting aside this time with this framework of a ritual, you have made the time itself different and special.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens in every AA meeting that I've
It is. And, certain groups have their own rituals. Some may not read the tools. Some may read a special daily reading or something. Some close with different prayers. But it is that fantastic setting aside of this time. This time is now special. It ties right into something I heard shared in my home group last week. A guy who said ritual is part of spiritual.
Oh, yeah.
I love those little things because I never noticed ritual being part of the word spiritual, but right there. And there are some meetings that I have attended that did have this abrupt start. I found myself, even being the atheist that I am, one who prays, saying a little serenity prayer to myself as people were going about their business starting this meeting because I needed to set aside the time for myself.
It works that way as well.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought about, we come to a halt when the meeting begins and focus on our primary purpose. That's tradition 10. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues. Hence, the AA name ought to never be drawn into public controversy. I was in a meeting this past week and somebody right before the meeting started, I was sitting beside him. He started asking me about something about politics. And I was going, nope, we're inside of an AA meeting. We're not going to talk about politics because it's divisive. And you don't know who's sitting beside you. who's overhearing what you're saying that will get a bad impression and think that AA is connected in some way, no matter what it is. So we focus on our primary purpose.
Or it can show up that, oh, this is not the right meeting for me. Those people are here. That type of thing. Leave your religion and your politics in the parking lot. For me, I want that a step farther because I have witnessed conversations before the meeting and after the meeting outside in the parking lot, so to speak. Well, that's still really kind of part of the meeting.
Yes.
I want this to be as inclusive and welcoming as possible, particularly to that person who is new, that's looking, their disease especially is looking for any reason whatsoever to say, I don't belong here.
That's great, Sam. I agree 100%, and I love the way you think there. And it's so different than that first year that you were sober. And I saw you come into a meeting wearing a candidate's pin who was running for president, battery operated, and it was flashing. And you said, I'm going to turn it off during the meeting so it doesn't flash.
Oh my God, called out. Yes.
Sorry.
And it's true. But I did turn it off when the meeting started.
You did.
I would never wear that even close to come into a meeting nowadays.
Well, but this is what happens in AA. We grow the longer we're in it. We begin to understand how it works. AA is different than other places in the world.
But that button was really cool.
It was cool. It was quite amazing flashing going on. Who's our guest today, Sam?
Don, today we welcome Madeline from Seattle.
But first, the news.
The National Corrections Conference will be happening in Charlotte, North Carolina this year, December 11th and 12th. Registration is officially live and can be found at nationalcorrectionsconference.org. Our 12 Steps is a brand new collection of stories from AA members about working the program's 12 Steps of Recovery. Each chapter illuminates a different step through the experiences of a wide variety of AA members. This volume features all new, up-to-date stories from the pages of Grapevine, the International Journal of Alcoholics Anonymous. This is great for sponsees and step meetings, and it's only $13.99 at aagrapevine.org/books.
My name is Madeline. I am an alcoholic from Seattle, Washington. My home group is Geeks Who Don't Drink, which is online. I got sober September 22nd, 2019, and have not had a drink since.
Madeline, you geek.
So tell us about this meeting.
It's very much a newcomer meeting. It's Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m., 5 p.m., and 8 p.m. every day. It's chaos. We do, if you know Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
We treat our whole opening with the 12 traditions and reading how it works as you would Rocky Horror Picture Show, where you just shout things out, anything that you can think of at the time. We call it running the gauntlet.
It's a ritual.
It's definitely a ritual.
I love that. My home group does the same thing because you got to go up to the front of the room and read how it works. Yeah. So whoever does that and gets through that, they deserve a round of applause. Geeks Who Don't Drink. And if we look up Seattle AA, we would find a website.
Yes, it should be on the Seattle Intergroup. It's taken us a minute to get approval to be put on there.
Well, do you follow the traditions?
We follow the traditions. We stick to AA-approved literature.
And you're children of chaos.
Yes.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
We have fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but we take our sobriety seriously.
Well, I'm going to release the chaos monkeys. So, Madeline, what was going on with you in 2019? How did you come to AA?
I started with Codependence Anonymous because I could tell something was going on in that department. I'd known that there was something wrong, that I wasn't happy. I had been let go from my job because the place was shutting down. I had bilateral carpal tunnel. So in my mind, hey, vacation, I can drink whenever I want.
Right. And we're the last to know we're alcoholics.
Oh, yes. Even then, I was living with someone, and we both knew to an extent we were alcoholics, but we never thought of that as a bad thing. That was, what true party people.
It's just a lifestyle.
And yet here I am going to get sake to make eggs for ramen that night, and it's gone before I can even make the eggs because I've drunk the whole thing. I pulled a bunch of geographics and eventually ended up back in my parents' house in Half Moon Bay, California. I didn't have a job. They weren't around. I was watching their house. Could not keep the liquor cabinet stocked. I was sitting there at my parents' dining room table by myself, really from like 11 a.m. until later. And I had this bottle of gin. I hate gin. It tastes like an alcoholic's tears. And pour a shot, and I'd sit there and I'd stare at it for 15 minutes thinking, I don't have to drink this. I already did that. It's already, maybe one more, and then I'm done. I would eventually take that shot and then immediately pour another one because my brain knew if it was poured, I couldn't just pour it out, and sit there for the next 15 minutes arguing with myself. And I did that from the morning to the evening. I was miserable. I had started bringing alcohol with me on road trips. Like I would buy something for the trip to drink while I went. The more it was coming up, the more I just realized, nope, something is wrong. Once I kind of admitted that to myself in a codependent anonymous meeting, I actually admitted, instead of, hi, my name is Madeline, I'm a codependent, it's, hi, my name is Madeline, and I'm an alco.
Bleepity bleep.
Oh, wow. You said it.
I did. And everyone around me who knew, because I'd been showing up, you can smell it. You think that they can and they don't know. And they all just kind of were like,
really? They started clapping.
We've been waiting for you to realize this.
Right, exactly. Like you're not necessarily going to do the steps in this program when you're still working with what's over here.
Isn't that interesting, Madeline, how something that you knew was hidden from yourself? That's the way my drinking was. I was so determined to deny that I'm an alcoholic, yet I knew it full well.
Yep.
Yeah, and I knew it for me too. That lie in my head was so strong that this is the only thing that works.
Yeah. And thinking about not drinking and what that would look like, what kind of life is that?
Exactly. It's unimaginable.
Ooh, what? And I'd see people who would leave full things of beer on a table and walk away. And I'm like,
that's because they don't care about alcohol. They're not alcoholics.
No, they're just weird.
No idea. Yeah.
If you're having conversations in your mind about your drinking, you might be an alcoholic.
Right. It's that finally convinced me.
So you knew of Alcoholics Anonymous.
I did. One of my friends, one day I'm sitting at a bar right before I go to my therapist's office, and I'm texting him and talking about why, I'm drinking and I don't like it and what's going on. And he'd been in AA or NA for a long time. And he sent me a message like, well, maybe, what about AA? What do you think about that? And I literally threw my phone across the room, like in a bar. I chucked it across the table because I was so pissed off. I was so angry that he would dare.
Methinks the lady may protest too much.
Exactly. Perfect use of that phrase right here. I actually started talking about it with said therapist, started being more honest with that. And I saw myself getting worse and worse. The thought kept growing. Maybe it's time to go do that.
That first meeting that you went to of Alcoholics Anonymous, can you recall what that was like?
I remember a series of them.
Mm-hmm.
There were 3 that I went to that I really enjoyed. It was startling how I walked in and everyone was like, oh, hey, I've never seen you here before. Like, hey, welcome. We're excited to see you. And it was nice how it was familiar with the previous 12-step. And it did follow, you were talking about it earlier, that ritual. It did follow that ritual, which made me kind of settle in like, okay, I'm here. I know what's happening. I know what's going on. I can relax. Yeah. And people are talking about this thing that I'm feeling. I stuck with women's meetings for a while. I even I felt kind of bad, but I really liked this lesbian meeting.
There's nothing wrong with specialty meetings.
Oh, we need them.
Oh, not at all. I'm not a lesbian. So I was like, I felt kind of like I was incognito, but I'm like, I really enjoy what you guys are handing out. And I didn't feel so bad because one day a guy showed up and opened the door and looked around and was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm here for this meeting. And they were like, oh, yeah, you can still come in. Like, they were that dedicated to helping someone stay sober. They were like, come on in, like, come stay sober with us.
I've been to gay meetings that have in their opening script, but first and foremost, we are a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous.
About my 5th meeting, I just started shaking and was like going to jump out of my skin. And I just looked at the schedule and saw that there was a meeting in half an hour from where I was working at the time. I couldn't work. I just left and went to this meeting, and they were so happy to see me and and I didn't find out till later that it was a women's meeting. But they didn't tell me. They just like, come in, sit down.
Yeah.
They could tell I was about to blow up.
Right, exactly.
Did you get the shakes?
Oh, no, I was very lucky. I didn't have any DTs or anything. My brain was foggy as anything. It was tough to remember what happened 5 minutes ago. So this is not me going through insanity. I'm not getting crazy. It's my brain trying to recover from everything that I did.
Madeline, what does today look like? What's an average week in your life in recovery?
Well, it's funny you ask that. We're going to go into rigorous honesty here. This last year, I also called you guys a while ago on my 4th year. I was not doing well. I had, in the span of a year, lost my best friend who got me in the rooms to the disease, and my sponsor who had carried me through those first 5 years of the other program. I was still going to meetings. I wasn't listening. I was working, but I was not working the program while I was at work. I wanted everything to be in my control. I wanted my clients had to be perfect when they left because that was how I was going to save everybody. That was how I was doing right by these 2 people who weren't around anymore. And I was actually very grateful to the Grapevine because I would come here and listen to the podcast and hear the things I needed to hear that I wasn't necessarily getting when I was going to meetings. I remember this one woman saying, the relapse happens well before the first drink. And that hit me at the time when I was like, I have to remember that. Like, I gotta pick up that phone. I have to do those things. There are definitely phrases that would pop up from things I had listened to where I'm going, that person has experienced what I'm going through right now, and I have to remember. So I hung on in large part because of the Grapevine podcast. So thank you both for that.
Thank you, Madeline.
Thank you.
And for everyone who shared their experience, strength, and hope over the last year and a half, it's what kept me from going absolutely crazy and choosing to drink again.
Well, Madeline, you're doing that for someone else right now. So you're giving it back.
Thank you. I'll take that in for a second. As I think my sponsor who passed would be happy with that. So I'll point that out. Whoever is listening right now and you're like, ooh, I don't know if I'm doing great in my program right now. I mean, I'm picking it back up. I'm going back to my home group and my meetings, and I'm remembering how important they are to me. And my stepping back in is encouraging other people I know whose things have fallen to the wayside. I have a new sponsor who has, 11 years or something along those lines, and I've known her for a while, and she's going to start taking me through the book, Just AA, this time. And I am starting to hang out with people more again. Work is not my life anymore. And I'm starting to remember why AA works. Yeah. Like I've been surviving for this long, kind of like jumping from raft to raft or stone to stone in the middle of this crazy river. And I know that I can always get in the boat. I don't have to do it piecemeal or alone. I can get in the boat with everyone else.
Well, staying sober long term, things are going to happen in life that are terrible and are unfair and are painful. It's happened to me where I've been, what I'm hearing you describe is you're in the valley of despair. Mm-hmm. And when I was there, with many years of sobriety, I would go to an AA meeting and it was like, I don't want to hear any of this stuff. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to do my morning prayer. it was just all seemed so meaningless, everything. And it was because this thing was dragging me down so strong. But the thing about being sober for a while is I knew that AA works even if I don't like it or don't want it, or what, if I do the fundamentals, I can get through it. Yeah. So it's a matter of getting through it rather than making it go away. And everything about drinking is, I know what will get rid of this valley of despair. I know what I can fill it with. I don't want to do that. I know it won't work. It's a lie.
Exactly.
And it tells me that it will work. So I continued to go to the meetings and sit there. And I continued to do the prayer to a higher power that I did not feel was real at the time. But I don't care, because that's the way I've stayed sober. So, and it sounds like that's what you're doing.
That's what I'm hearing. You don't have to start over to be new. Be new. Do things like you were when you were new. Go to 90 and 90. Work the steps with a new sponsor. Or keep your same sponsor and work the steps with them, or work the steps with a friend. Check out new meetings. Say yes when people invite you to do something after the meeting. Become a part of. I need a menu of things to choose from, because if I have that menu, something is going to be, if not palatable, at least doable. When I'm in that valley of despair, when I am just not feeling it. If I've got this menu of things of pray, meditate, sit on the porch and look at the mountain, call someone, join an online meeting. Even if I don't turn on my camera, just get the voice in my head. There are so many things that are available that can work the magic that happens when recovery things are being done to my brain.
Exactly. I love that metaphor of a menu, because it really is, when you're sitting there thinking, it is so much easier if you have the list to go, oh yeah, okay, I've got this, and
okay,
this.
List, make a menu.
If I'm feeling absolutely terrible and I'm sitting there going, my life is a wreck and I'm very upset and I am gonna explode and I might go drink. Going to a meeting is always one for me.
Absolutely.
And my home group has them 3 times a day. Again, even if it's just me putting an anchor in there and I don't show my face, half the time during this time period, I'd show up and be like, everyone, I am a cranky, you know what today, but I'm here. And they all are like, we're just happy you're we're just so happy you're here. Like, sit down in the back if you have to, and just hang out. And again, by the time we get through the gauntlet, I'm like, okay, all right, this is fun.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to share where you are in the meeting. Particularly if you're your home group, let them know, I don't feel good.
Because then they see you, and they see you for what's actually happening. You don't have to put on a front. You don't have to pretend that you're fine, because that's what we do when we come here. I'm not fine. I'm not the best person ever. I'm just me. I'm just an alcoholic, and I don't want to drink anymore.
What else is on the menu?
Gratitude lists are always huge for me. I try and do them in the morning. I send them to a group of gals who aren't in recovery, but who work with me. Really going into it, not just like my family, my friends, my dog, which is not a bad thing. If you're grateful for them, yay. But taking the time to go, I'm really grateful that I have a functioning toilet that I can use. Or I am so grateful that I have a bed that is soft and sheets that are clean. I have clean running water that I can just turn on and have whenever I want. Like, things that I don't necessarily think about.
Yeah, like adequate tire pressure.
Exactly. You don't know you love it until it's gone.
That's right.
And then you're like, no, if only I had a few more cubic feet of, or I don't know what the measurement is.
Oh my gosh.
Calling a sober person, even if it's just to go, can I just angry at you? I'm trying not to swear. I'm doing pretty good so far. Can I just angry at you for a second? And half the time they're like, yeah, go for it. And I go for it and don't hold back on what's frustrating. And half the time they're just listening afterwards, I've released the steam, if you will. The pressure of the tire has gone down to an appropriate level.
Yeah. Yes. That's, again, letting yourself be known and sharing where you're at with another person.
Yeah.
And allowing someone to help me.
Allowing them to see me for who I am, not who I want them to see me as.
And one of the magical things about doing that with friends in recovery is they'll let me do that, but they're not going to feed it.
No, because they know what happens if they feed it.
Yeah.
And at the same time go, when was the last time you went to a meeting, dear?
Yeah, they're outside of the emotional turmoil. Well, Madeline, I want you to stick around, and we want to hear what you have to say about the daily quote.
Folks, you can sign up to receive daily quotes at aagrapevine.org, and they'll be delivered to your email inbox. Or you can read them every day in the Grapevine app. Our very first problem is to accept our present circumstances as they are, ourselves as we are, and the people about us as they are. This is to adopt a realistic humility without which no genuine advance can even begin. That is from AA co-founder Bill W., March 1962, What is Acceptance in Best of the Grapevine, Volume 1.
Oh, my.
Amen.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
It is. And that was not planned.
I don't know if this is common, but they call that a God shot where I'm at in my home groups. Yes. One of my favorite metaphors is you can't clean your house until you know your house is dirty, until you look around and go, oh, there are cobwebs in the corners. There is garbage all over the floor. If you live without seeing those things, you can't do anything about it. So the first part is looking and going, I have really made a mess of all these things.
Yeah, we were talking about actors on the stage, we're the actors. We're not the directors, and that's what I heard with that. I don't have control. I'm simply here to do my part, and I might not like the play I'm in right now. This play sucks. Fire the writers. But I've got to do my part and get through it. There'll be another play.
Yeah. Acceptance is not approval. If I accept my circumstances, if I accept myself, and if I accept the other people as it doesn't mean that I'm giving it my stamp of approval, that this is how things should be. It means that I'm accepting that what is.
Yeah.
Accept the things I cannot change the things I can, and know the difference. But it doesn't mean that I don't try to change things. There are things that I accept, but I also know that maybe they can be different. Is there something that I can do? And as we all well know, most often the thing that we change is us.
God grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, to change the ones I can, and the wisdom to know it's me.
Yes. Madeline, I have come to adore you over the past hour. And I want folks to know Madeline called in and gave us stuff. She took direction when we said call.
Yeah, newcomer asked questions, other things.
And we just really enjoyed what was being given to us. And we reached out to Madeline and asked you to join us on an episode. And I'm so glad you said yes.
Hey, when you're called to service, you show up.
Madeline, this has been a pleasure.
Thanks, Don. Thanks, Sam. This was a lot of fun.
The Grapevine strives to be self-supporting.
Please subscribe to the magazine or app and visit the Grapevine online store.
The app is free in your phone's app store and has great content and features provided at no cost to you.
But if you subscribe, you get so much more. And you support all things Grapevine, including this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Only $2.99 a month.
I have an imaginary sponsor.
You can do better.
Thank you.
I wasn't talking to you.
It's really not that funny.
Please listen closely as our options have changed.
Thanks for joining us. The AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour is posted every Monday and is produced by AA Grapevine, Inc. We don't speak for AA as a whole. We share the experience, strength, and hope of members to help others recover from alcoholism. All things Grapevine are available at aagrapevine.org, including our app and how to get in touch with us. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to know more about AA, visit aa.org or search online for Alcoholics Anonymous and your city.
That was freaking adequate.
Put that in.